All right, imagine this for a second. You stumble upon something, it's not a book, not a report, it's more like a map, a huge, perfectly organized chart that seems to lay out the entire world of business and finance with this strange, almost genealogical precision. So today, we're going to try and decode this thing.
Let's really dig in here. What if you found something that was, I don't know, kind of like a Rosetta Stone for finance? A single blueprint that connects everything, from the simplest little idea to the most complex corporate strategy, showing you exactly how it all fits together?
So you start looking through it, and the language is it's plain weird. You find entries like this one. Great-grandchildren? I mean, who talks like that in a financial document? It feels less like a textbook and more like a really strange family history. So, what gives?
And that, well, that's the big secret, isn't it? This isn't just a list, it's a taxonomy, a family tree. Every major concept in business is treated like a parent, and then it branches out into a whole series of offspring that define it. This whole genealogical structure, that's the key to the entire system.
Okay, so if it is a family tree, there's got to be some kind of pattern, right? Some logic behind it all. We need to decode that. So let's zoom in on just one of these families and see if we can figure out how it actually works. We'll start with a classic, something a lot of you have probably seen before. Financial ratio analysis. It's how you check the health of a company by looking at its financial statements. But in this weird blueprint, it's just cataloged as F16.2.
But here's where it gets really interesting. This one concept, F16.2, it branches out into 26, 26 distinct categories, one for every single letter of the alphabet. A is for activity ratios, L is for leverage, P for profitability, all the way down to Z for the Z-score bankruptcy predictor. It's a complete A to Z framework that organizes an entire field of study.
And this just shows you how powerful this is. Think about it. The old way, you're just trying to cram a chaotic, random list of terms into your head. But the blueprint way, it gives you a mental map. All of a sudden, everything has a place, and you can actually see the connections. For really learning this stuff, it's a total game changer.
Okay, pretty cool, right? This A to Z system is super elegant. But just how big is this thing really? We've only been looking at one tiny little corner of the map. Let's zoom out a bit and get a sense of the real scale here.
So you start scrolling through and you find these massive domains, like the entire world of M&A finance. And then there's a whole section mapping out everything you could ever want to know about portfolio management. Then it dives into these really niche, specialized topics, stuff you'd never expect, like the nitty-gritty of grant compliance. And of course, corporate governance is in there, from the board of directors all the way down. And even forward-looking strategic tools like scenario planning. The scope is it's immense. It feels like it covers, well, literally everything. But then, as you're going through this perfectly organized universe, you start to notice something weird, a little anomaly, kind of like a glitch in the matrix. It's this one phrase, and it keeps popping up in places where it has absolutely no business being.
So, check this out. You're in section F26, right? Looking at FINRA rules for the securities industry. It's all standard legal stuff. Until you get to the very last entry, number 26. And it says, Quantum Function Governance. Wait, what? What on earth is that doing in a list of financial laws?
Okay, so you just brush it off. Must be a typo. You move on. But then, you jump to a completely different part of the map. Section F11, all about treasury governance. You're reading about internal controls, reporting, and bam, there it is again. The very last item, number 26, the exact same phrase.
Okay, and this is where it just gets bizarre. Now you're deep in the data science section. F3, time series analysis. We're talking ARIMA models, neural networks, super heavy, quantitative stuff. And boom, at the end of the list, like some kind of ghost in the machine, there it is, quantum function governance. Okay, this is definitely not a coincidence.
So what is going on here? Is it just a massive copy-paste error? A placeholder for some concept that hasn't even been invented yet? Or is it something else? Something intentional, like a signature from whoever made this thing? Maybe it's a key to understanding the whole system. The truth is, we honestly don't have the answer.
But, okay, let's put that mystery on the shelf for just a minute and zoom back out. Because whether that repeating phrase is a glitch or a secret key, the blueprint itself has a really powerful lesson for us about finding clarity when things feel chaotic.
The whole point is that a framework like this, it just works. And it's for a few simple reasons. First, it takes a huge, complex subject and breaks it down into bite-sized pieces. Second, that whole A to Z structure, it forces you to be thorough, right? You have to cover all your bases. And maybe most importantly, it takes a whole mess of jargon and turns it into a map you can actually navigate. A place for everything. And that's the real takeaway here. It's not about the finance stuff. Not really. It's about the method. This whole thing is a way of thinking. It's a tool that lets you see the hidden structure, that secret family tree in literally any complex topic you want to master. So that leaves us with one last thought. We just walked through this incredible map of finance, and yeah, it has its own little unsolved mystery. But the principles here, structure, order, curiosity, you can apply them to anything. Every single complex field out there has its own hidden blueprint, just waiting for someone to find it. So the real question is, what are you going to map next?